reading and meditation.
Yes. And thank you for being here today. Uh, I'll use the prac mic, okay? I'll put this down. This is, oh, well, this is specifically for you. Okay. I see love as a beautiful pink rose, color flowing from my heart to the person's heart. The love in the person blossoms out to all the body and areas of concern. I do this slowly. And when I am done, I feel the atmosphere in this very room change. I feel a holiness embody me. Love is a transformational power. So every day, everything we do, with every interaction we have, we get to think about and decide how we will show up in this moment. During our silent meditation, I invite you to contemplate the following affirmation. I send love to all I meet today. I send love to all I meet today. We are now being transformed with every breath. Let us breathe in the divine spirit, the light, the love, that which encompasses the infinite universe. And each being celebrates the feeling of the oneness within, connecting to each other, and knowing that all is well. All the bumps in the road are easily maneuvered. They serve a purpose. Every change, every transformation, everything that happens can be a blessing. And this is what we do. We give thanks for all the goodness and the guidance that is divine. I give thanks for the wisdom that will be imparted to all of us here and out into the world by Reverend Dr. Jerry. I give thanks for the technology that allows us to share with everybody out there, and they tune in. Thanks to Martin. I give thanks for the miracles that are all around us. And most of all, I give thanks for what is unfolding today perfectly, as is. And each person here and online and on the other side of the world is contributing to the genuine atmosphere that is blessing us right here, right now. And so I call this day very good. And let's just say it together. And so it is. There we go. We have a very, excuse me. Cheers is a representation of what we are about to hear. A beautiful songs by Lauren Grace. And she is indeed on the other side of the world. You may have met her here. What a delight. And you have seen her come forth and sing. And today we are blessed to hear two very special songs, one now and one after Reverend Jerry's talk. So, Martin, if we're ready. Here we go. Lauren Grace, ladies and gentlemen.
Love is calling me home. Love has opened the door. Come inside. and feel the light. Love is nothing more. Yes, peace is calling me home. Oh, peace has opened the door. You can come inside and feel the light. Peace asks nothing more. Oh, joy is calling me home. Yes, joy has opened the door. You can come inside and feel the light. Joy asks nothing more. Ooh, ooh, you can come inside and feel the light. Joy asks nothing more. Oh, love is calling me home. Oh, love has opened the door. You can come inside and feel the light. Love asks nothing more. Oh, love asks nothing more.
So good morning once again, or good afternoon, or good evening if you're in another time zone or watching later, and Happy New Year. Great to see you all this morning. I seem to be missing a clicker. Ah. Thank you very much, so that we can advance. Not as much. Thank you. Okay. So my topic for this morning is giving and receiving with an open heart, and the subtopic is, why isn't this working? Spoiler alert, it is. It is, and we'll talk much more about that, so I'm glad you're with me this morning. Starting out with a quote from Ernest Holmes, "It is only as we allow the divine current to flow through us, in and out, that we really express life. The law of giving and receiving is definite." So note that word allow, because the truth is, and I'll talk more about this, in our affirmative prayer and our spiritual mind treatment, that's all we're ever doing is allowing Spirit to do what we say we want. So we'll talk more about that. If we go back to the foundation of our teaching, and sometimes I hear people talking about our teaching as this airy-fairy, complicated, gobbledygook kind of thing. No. We all have the elevator pitch. And if you don't, I invite you to consider, Jesus said, "It's done unto you as you believe." That's it. That's all there is. It's done unto you as you believe. As we believe. Based on our past history, based on our belief in whatever it is, as well as our deservedness to receive whatever it is we say we want. Some wise person, not me, once said, I have what I have because of right of consciousness. So it's not possible for you to take my good away from me, because your good is your good and my good is my good, and there really is enough to go around, which is a topic for a whole nother Sunday talk, so we won't go down that road. So we do our affirmative prayer. We say, and so it is, and then we allow Spirit to do what Spirit does. That's all we're ever doing, is allowing. There is nothing that can keep our good from us, and whatever your good is, money, health, relationships, whatever it is, there's nothing that can keep our good from us except our belief in what's available to us and our belief in our deservedness. Do we still do New Year's resolutions? No? Okay. If you do, I honor and celebrate you. And I talked about this several years ago and was talking about New Year's resolutions and the fact that if your list of New Year's resolutions looks like a carbon copy of last year and the year before, and this fairly young crowd looked at me like, what? Because they'd never heard of a carbon copy. If you don't know what a carbon copy is, please don't tell me, because that dates me and dates some of us, or a Xerox copy or a whatever. But if we're still doing the same thing and we really want to do this year after year after year, there's the opportunity for us to see, first of all, do we really want this? And secondly, what do we believe about whatever it is? And again, our deservedness. The other words, that the foundation of our teaching is, you've heard this probably once or twice, change your thinking, change your life. So what do I believe about this, and what do I need to change about my beliefs in order to receive whatever it is? So we talk a lot about giving, but not as much about receiving. And so this morning, I'm going to focus on me. And I'm going to focus on you. And do we allow ourselves to receive from one another? Can we go to lunch and not be fighting about who's going to pay the check? Can we receive a gift from someone and not give a gift in return? Can we receive a compliment? Oh, you look wonderful this morning. Oh, God, this old thing. Can we allow ourselves to receive? And if we can't receive from one another, how do we expect to receive from Spirit, from the universe? Or can we say in our heart of hearts, yes, thank you, and more, please? Can we do that? Are we allowed to do that? Do we deserve whatever it is? Do we offer loving kindness? And you've probably heard that term before that I love. Can we offer loving kindness to other people, but most especially to ourselves? Loving kindness is a Buddhist practice, a core meditation practice cultivating universal goodwill, friendliness, and unconditional love for ourselves and all beings, expanding outwards from self to loved ones, neutrals, difficult people, and finally all beings. Because I don't know about you, but I've got a whole long list of people that I offer loving kindness with 24/7, 365. But then there are those people who it's a little bit more of a difficult task. but can we offer that loving kindness to ourselves? It is an antidote to anger, selfishness, and fear to foster inner peace and connection, and involves directing warm-hearted concern for the welfare and happiness of ourselves and others, leading to profound inner transformation and compassion. And you remember in Matthew, Jesus was asked, what is the greatest commandment? And he said to love God, but to love your neighbor as yourself. Do we allow ourselves to do that? And what gets in the way? Brene Brown is one of my favorite authors, and she talks about living wholeheartedly. So no part of us in our heart of hearts, in our love, no part of us left out. And she defines wholehearted living as engaging from a place of worthiness, believing you are enough and deserving of love and belonging, even amidst imperfections, vulnerability, and fear. I have trouble. Imperfection gets me every once in a while, because yeah, but that's part of my perfection. Part of your perfection is what we label as imperfections. A little editorial comment there. It's about courageously showing up, embracing our authentic self, and practicing compassion for ourselves and others, rather than striving for perfection or living from scarcity. So wholehearted with no parts left out. And I talk about this a lot. You remember the writing from the Sufi mystic poet Rumi talks about the guest house. That this human being is a guest house because I'm charming and sparkling and wonderful and patient and kind and all those other things. And hateful and cranky and surly and judgmental. And guess what? So are you. Because that's who we are. We get to not only allow that and accept that and tolerate that, but welcome that, because that's who we are. And ideally, we're the first list more than the second list. And if not, we can talk about that. But you get the point, that because I am that, whatever that is. You are that, whatever that is. So we don't have to deny that or shame that. We can recognize that this is just part of who we are. So I was thinking about my resume. And when we write a resume, we put down all the wonderful things that we've done and our accomplishments and our talents and our likes and all the rest of that. And then there's the next page that we don't submit if we're looking for a new job or whatever, about those things that we'd be just as happy not to talk about. But they're still there. Even though we don't look at them, they're in the back of our minds still. Boy, that didn't go as well as I thought it was going to. Boy, I wish I would have, and you get to fill in the blank. Boy, if they only would have, and you get to fill in the blank. Because but it's still there in our minds and our memories and in our hearts. And I suggest that sometimes the page of the resume that we're not looking at, gets in the way of our living our best life and our most wonderful life, because we're attaching judgment and shame and guilt and all the rest of that to whatever that is. I love the Four Agreements, and I quote it a lot. And if you've read the book, you remember that in the beginning, Don Miguel Ruiz talks about this experience of domestication, that we were born, we arrived on the scene, we didn't know anything, and we were taught or domesticated into what's good, what's bad, what's right, what's wrong, what you should do, my favorite word, what you should do, and even a longer list of all the things that you shouldn't do. And so for many of us, depending on how you were raised, we bought that because our parents told us that, and our grandparents told us that, and our ministers told us that, and they were the people, they know what they're talking about. This is a slippery slope when you're talking about ministers, but nonetheless, supposedly they knew what they were talking about, so it must be the truth. So, okay, so all those shoulds, that's true for me, and if they said I should be doing that, then I should be doing that. But what if I can't? What if I can't? Children should be seen and not heard. Ever told that? Women, our buddy the Apostle Paul in the New Testament said women should remain silent in the church. Yeah, it's there. And that's why many denominations don't have female pastors and ministers, because, well, it says that in the Bible. Of course, all the other stuff that it says in the Bible that they ignore, but that's a whole nother conversation. Women should stay home. You should stay home and raise the kids. Men should go out and start a family. And, oh, by the way, be married to someone of the opposite. All of these rules. When we didn't, when we couldn't, we might have experienced shame. And on January 11th, 2026, even though whatever it is that happened maybe months or years or decades ago, we may still carry that shame with us that keeps us from experiencing this most amazing life. So that's what we're talking about today. Our shame might have come because, well, this probably wasn't your experience, but I was not one of the cool kids. And the cool kids, in high school, they're the athletes. They're the gorgeous ones. They're the ones that have really nice cars as soon as they were able to get a driver's license. And I had a little old lady car. I had a 1970 AMC Hornet. We're talking seriously sexy. And for those of you that remember, it was white. It didn't have a radio because it was my grandmother's car, and she gave it to me because she wanted to get a new car. So, but did it get me where I needed to go? Yes. Did I not pay anything for it? Yes. So, I mean, it was fine, but it wasn't cool. It just, it was just okay, but it did what it needed to do. But if we weren't one of the cool kids, if we weren't in the circle of coolness, we might have some shame. Or if we weren't the ideal weight, ideal height, ideal whatever, we might have collected some shame in that experience. Shame is a different thing from guilt. Guilt, very often, is for what we did, but shame is for who we are. And if you've come from that place, you know how difficult it is to look at it and release it, because I can't do anything about this. I didn't choose it, but this is who I am, and I just can't do this to make me acceptable according to somebody else's rules. So the opportunity as we go along is to recognize what's true for us and what's not. Could be our ethnic background, our social standing, our family's financial history, our sexual orientation, our physical body, just a variety of things that we heap on ourselves because somebody said you should or you shouldn't, and we picked it up as our truth. Brene Brown, in the book Daring Greatly, she writes, and this is a long quote, but bear with me. Shame derives its power from being unspeakable. That's why it loves perfectionists. It's so easy to keep us quiet. If we cultivate enough awareness about shame to name it and speak to it, we've basically cut it off at the knees. Shame hates having words wrapped around it. If we speak shame, it begins to wither. Language and story bring light to shame and destroy it. Note that word, and we're going to talk in a few minutes about allowing ourselves, and it's not necessarily standing up in front of a room talking about our shame, but talking with ourselves. Maybe journaling if that resonates for you, but why do I still feel this? What is the story about this? And how can I change the story from one that is disempowering into one that is empowering? And we'll talk more about that. For many of us, everything shame needs to hijack and control our lives is in place. We've handed over our self-worth to what people think. When our self-worth isn't on the line, we are far more courageous and risk sharing our raw talents and gifts. A sense of worthiness inspires us to be vulnerable, share openly, and persevere. Shame keeps us small, resentful, and afraid. What will people think? Who gives a... No, I can't say that from the pulpit, but you can figure it out. But we have, so many of us, we have that. And oh my goodness, you're going to look, at your age, are you kidding? You're going to look really foolish if you, or what will they think? What will they think if you say no? All of those things, and that's a whole nother Sunday talk, but you get the point. How often do we give our power away to worries about what will they think? And who are they? Who are they? That's a topic for another Sunday morning, but she has one more quote in the book, Daring Greatly, and I really, really like this. And this she quoted Peter Shahan. He's the CEO of Change Labs and speaks in the business community. The secret killer of innovation is shame. You can't measure it, but it is there. Every time someone holds back on a new idea, fails to give their manager much needed feedback, and is afraid to speak up in front of a client, you can be sure shame played a part. That deep fear we all have of being wrong, of being belittled and feeling less than, is what stops us taking the very risks required to move our companies, and my words, ourselves and our lives forward. Because the experts in our lives draw on the same inner wisdom that we do. They draw on the same inner wisdom. It's just perhaps they're more in touch with it. Perhaps they have had more experience with it. And I'll talk more about this. But y'all are, I'll include myself in y'all. We are, remember Yoda? We are luminous beings. We are wise. We are the essence, expression, and experience of spirit, not just some bump on a pickle. That is not the truth of our being. No, you are not a bump on a pickle. But how often do we discount or negate what spirit is telling us because children should be seen and not heard? Well, and we were children at some point. So just go sit down. You don't know what you're talking about. Keeps us in shame. Such as our appearance and our body image, too big, too small, too or not enough. Our money and our work, well, by this time you should be, or why don't you, or why haven't you? motherhood or fatherhood and family. As many of you know, and I'll talk more about this later, I work with homeless 18 to 24-year-olds coming from can't even imagine experiences with family and with adoption and aging out of foster care and not having any place to go, all those kinds of things. Imagine the potential shame that they could carry with them. Our relationship with our parents, our mental and physical health. If you had the experience of addiction, the shame of that, or someone in your family, the shame and the potential for that. Anything related to sex. Those of us who have gotten to be a certain age that maybe can't do what we used to do, there can be shame attached to that. And then our surviving whatever it was, experiencing the trauma, either ourselves or a family member or a situation, all of this can lead to and play into this experience of shame. So how will I allow this most amazing 2026 if I don't believe I deserve it? How will I allow that? And there's some, and it might not have been a specific event, but how many of us growing up were told that we were selfish or careless or lazy or no good or unlovable or worthless or ugly, or, and you get to fill in the blank. And unless and until we look at that experience with adult eyes, if we keep looking at that experience with 5-year-old eyes, we keep having that experience and reminding ourselves of that truth. And I put the word truth in quotation marks. But when we look at that experience with adult eyes, we see that that person was going through a situation, or we have no idea why they said what they said, but it was not the truth then, and it is not the truth now. But we have to look at it to see it so that we can release it and move forward. You've heard me quote this before. One of my favorite authors, Debbie Ford, said, "What we can't be with won't let us be." So be with these feelings. Ask the question. Nope, that's later. Shut up, Jerry. Hold that thought. So what I'm asking me to do, and I invite you to come along for the ride if you would like, is to change. I know. And to change the way we look at ourselves, to change the way we treat ourselves, the wholeheartedness and the loving kindness that we offer to other people, invite ourselves to accept that, to experience that. But change can be a risky invitation. And this quote, this is one of my favorite books, A New Way to Be Human by Robert V. Taylor. And he writes about risky invitations. They interrupt the imagined or assumed course of your life, raising the stakes right where you struggle the most. Responding to these invitations takes you beyond your comfort zone, inviting transformation and an enlarged understanding of yourself, others, and the holy. The perceived risk compared to what you imagine to be certain may tempt you to decline the invitation, but don't say no just yet. When you clutch at the imagined certainties of your life, I never, I'll never, I always, I'll always, you keep life at bay and drain and distance yourself from your journey with and as the holy. To turn back from the risky invitations of your journey is to trifle with life by willfully denying yourself the fullness of who you are meant to be. The risky invitations are a gift connecting you with others in new mindfulness about what it means to be fully human. Change is scary, even if it's a situation, even if it's something that we've carried for years or decades or centuries, and we've been comfortable in our discomfort. And that's okay. But that's not what we came here to do. We came here to live this most amazing life. And somebody, again, not me, said the unexamined life is not worth living. So why is this not working? Well, it is. But it's my belief about whatever it is, but I can change that. I can release that shame, that guilt, that whatever it is, so that I can move forward. So in the book, he writes about 3 stepping stones. First one, affirming you are loved for your existence. And this is huge for me because I came from a place of, what are you sitting there for? There's stuff to do. You need to go, take out the trash, mow the lawn, wash the car, whatever it is. And so I got the message early on that if I did all that, then maybe you would love me. And if I didn't, you wouldn't. But the truth is that we are loved just the mere fact that we're here. So we are loved for our existence. Trusting and cultivating our imagination and intuition, and then polishing the world. And I'll talk. Trusting and cultivating our imagination and intuition. You might know that on Tuesday, the Western Christianity celebrated Epiphany. And that's the day when the wise men, or the Magi, found and appeared to Jesus in the manger in Bethlehem. Now, the reason that they knew that this was happening was that they had heard it from Herod, who was the king at the time. But Herod heard through the channels, because he was watching CNN and Fox News and some others, maybe. He heard through the grapevine that this new king of the Jews was being born, and he was very upset because somebody's here to take my job away from me. So he sent for the Magi and asked them to go find this Jesus and come back and tell me where he is. So they found him, but they got the word. They got the intuition. They got the wisdom. Don't go back to Herod. Just go on about your way. How often do we allow ourselves to have that epiphany? How often do we allow ourselves to ask, why isn't this working? What do I really believe about this? Why am I so upset about this? And allow the still small voice to tell us what we need to know. In the Beatitudes, Jesus said, ask, seek, and knock. Do we allow ourselves to do that and then listen and act on whatever wisdom we got? We do that all the time. Parking places, just a variety of things in our lives. But how wonderful, and I know you've had this experience before, and you're just standing there with, or at least I am, with my mouth hanging open. How in the world did I know to do that? Well, Spirit told me, and I acted on whatever it was, and that became my experience. We have that epiphany whenever we choose to and whenever we ask the question. So your love for your existence, trusting and cultivating our imagination and intuition, and then polishing the world. Today, our world needs to be polished. Our world needs to be loved. Our world needs unconditional love and welcoming kindness and loving kindness and all of those things that we're giving to ourselves. There is the opportunity to give to others in the little ways, because as we know, throughout the day, there's an opportunity to just be kind to allow whatever it is. So that always the opportunity for that.